Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing lesson 16 for Wit and Wisdom. Remember, our essential question is, what can we discover about animals' unique features? And today our focus question is, how do seahorses use their unique features? Our content framing question is, what is happening in Seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea? So in our lesson today, we are going to build on our work with using the outside-in strategy to determine the meaning of the word shyest. We're going to continue to practice identifying key details and main topics by using the buttons and box routine also. So let's get started. We're going to be learning about a word that we can use to describe seahorses. Now, here's the front cover here, all right? Look at this word right here. Do you see that word? That's the word shyest. What do you think shyest means? So let's look outside the word shyest for context clues, and then we're going to look inside shyest before determining the meaning. So I'm going to read aloud page 6 and 7 to you. In the warm ocean, among the waving seagrass meadows, an eye like a small black bead is watching the fish dart by. Who does it belong to? Seahorse, one of the shyest fish in the sea. Now, look at that picture. Where is Seahorse? Do you see him hiding in the grass there? Why is he hiding for? What might give you a clue that he's shy? Hiding, maybe? Possibly. Let's look at page 10 and 11 also. He can only swim slowly, so if a hungry snapper cruises by looking for a snack, Seahorse does something very clever. He holds and changes colors. Now you see him until he's almost invisible. Now you don't. Seahorses have hard, bony ridges all down their bodies. So not many other creatures eat seahorses, probably because they're too difficult to swallow. The way seahorses change color of their skin is to blend in with their surroundings, and it's called camouflage. So looking at those two pages, see that? What might give you a clue about the meaning of the word shyest there? Maybe because he doesn't want to be seen, so he camouflages? Maybe. Let's look at 24 and 25. When she is even bigger, Seahorse picks one patch of the reef as her home. She wraps her tail around a coral branch. This is her holdfast. So wherever she goes, she'll keep coming back to this holdfast. Male barber seahorses range over only a few square yards. The female's range is twice as big or even bigger. So look at this page. What might give you a clue about the meaning of the word shyest here? Maybe because she's hiding in the coral at her holdfast, possibly? And she's by herself, far away from anybody else, right? Yeah, possibly so. So did you notice anything about the word shyest? I noticed it has the word shy in it, and it's got an ending on the end of it. Where else have you ever seen this word? You know, I was always told in school I was shy. I don't see it, but now looking back, when I was younger, I was kind of shy. I didn't talk a lot to people. So let's think about this. Based on the information we've gathered, so what is our best guess for the meaning of the word shyest? Well, Well, you don't want to be seen. You want to be by yourself. You want to hide from people, don't you? Yeah. So we can confirm that shyest means uncomfortable with strangers or easily scared, right? So if I read that sentence on page 6 and 7, let me go back to 6 and 7 here. And instead of saying shyest, I'm going to put in our definition. In the warm ocean, among the waving seagrass meadows, an eye like a small black bead is watching the fish dart by. Who does it belong to? Seahorse, one of the ones that wants to be by itself. One of the ones that is uncomfortable with strangers or easily scared in the sea. That could work, couldn't it? Because if you look, she is by herself, isn't she? Or he doesn't want to be around others and tries to blend in so nobody will see him. Very nicely done. Okay. So I hope that you will not be shy or quiet about all that you've learned about this text so far. During this lesson, you're going to take a closer look at what's happening in the seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea. Okay? So let's get our video going. So hold on here a second, please. So let's share this screen here. Oh, let me get rid of this bar up here. That bar always likes to show up. All right, so we are going to listen to our video here.
Hello, first grade friends, and welcome back to Wit and Wisdom. My name is Tanisha Spears, and I'm excited to jump into our lesson. But before we do, let's make sure you have your materials ready. For this lesson, you will need handout 11A, which is the buttons and boxes handout. You'll need your Wit and Wisdom and Safe journal and a pencil. And don't worry if you don't have handout 11A. You can just use a cup or a jar and some coins or crumpled up pieces of paper. Pause the video now if you need to gather your materials.
All right, I've got my buttons and boxes right here ready to go. I know I have given you the handout 11A. That way you can just point to it if you would, okay? And then make sure you've got your journal and pencil.
In previous work, you had an opportunity to make observations on what you notice and wonder about the text, Seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea. And you started thinking about selecting details in informative writing. Today, you will continue thinking about how to select important details for informative paragraphs. We'll also continue working with the Seahorse text and thinking about key details in the text. But before we do, let's take a moment to think about the title of the text. The title of the book is Seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea. When people are shy, it means they are uncomfortable with strangers or easily scared. The EST at the end of shyest means most. So shyest means the most shy. Do you remember any times when the seahorse acted shy? I'll ask it one more time. Do you remember any times when the seahorse acted shy?
Now let's discuss that. When did the seahorse act shy? Remember at the beginning, he was hiding in the grass And then he turned a different color so no one would see him. And then hiding in his holdfast, right? So no one could be around him.
Maybe you thought about how the seahorse stayed still when another fish came near it. And remember, the seahorse stayed still and avoided the other fish because it didn't want to get eaten. Now, let's think about the question that will frame our learning for today. And that question is, what is happening in this text? So specifically, we'll be thinking about what is happening in Seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea. And as you examine what is happening in the book, you will find clues about what the book is mostly about. I want you to think back to the text, Me, Jane. How did we identify the key details and main topic of sections of Me, Jane? Think about that one more time. How did we identify the key details and main topic of sections of Me, Jane? Tell your learning partner.
What did we do? We went back and reread, didn't we? And we looked at what she was doing.
You may have guessed it. We used a routine called boxes and buttons to help us determine what each section was about. And now you will look at the text. Seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea, in a similar way. Now I have a challenge. I want you to point to the picture gently on the screen that represents the small details.
You pointing to the button?
Now, point to the picture that represents the main topic or what the text is mostly about.
I hope you're pointing at the box.
I'm sure you got them right. The button represents the small details and the box represents the main topic or what the text is mostly about. Now, we're going to read a few excerpts or small parts of the text, and then we'll figure out the details in the main topic in those sections. Are you ready?
I am.
Let's get started. Okay. I'm going to be reading an excerpt. That means only some of the words from page 10, and then we'll talk about the details and main topics of this section of text. One of the materials I told you to get was handout 11A, buttons and boxes. Now, you may be just like me and you're at home, so you don't have those materials accessible. So you could have also gotten a jar and some crumbled up pieces of paper or some pennies if you had them to represent the buttons and the box. Okay. Now, as I am reading the excerpt from page 10, you should be listening carefully for key details because those are the buttons, the small pieces of information that we're learning about on those pages. Once we've identified details, then we can think about what all those details have in common. That will help us figure out the main topic of section. I want you to remember as I am reading that a snapper is a type of fish. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Listen carefully. If a hungry snapper cruises by, Seahorse holds still and changes color. Now, I don't know about you, but I heard details about how a hungry fish was swimming near the seahorse, but the seahorse stayed still and changed color.
Ooh.
All of those details describe how the seahorse stays safe and how the seahorse can hide from predators or other animals that want to eat them. So now I can close my box. And now I'm going to add that information to our main topics chart. Here's the main topic for the first section I read. Seahorses use their bodies to stay safe. Now, let's read another section. And as I read, you should be listening for details. And if you have buttons or handout 11A, you can touch a button each time you hear a detail. And if you don't have buttons or pennies or crumpled pieces of paper in a jar, that's okay. The important thing is that you are listening for details. Let's get back into the text. I am going to read excerpts from pages 20 through 24. Listen carefully. Her eyes move separately from each other. One can peer up while the other looks down, so she can spot food coming from any direction. To drop lower in the water, seahorses tuck in their necks and roll up their tails. To rise higher, they uncurl themselves till they are almost as straight as pencils. Seahorses have prehensile tails, which means they can grasp things tightly with them. One detail I heard was that...
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. What was a detail you heard? Well, I heard that one eye can move up and one eye can move down. Did you hear that one? I did. Did you hear that they use their tail to go up and down with the tucking of their necks? I did too. Let's see what our friend has to say.
Seahorses can move their eyes all around to help them look for food. What are some details that you heard? Share with your learning partner. Now think, what do these details tell us about seahorses? Or in other words, based on all the details that you heard, what's the main topic of this section of text? Share with your learning partner.
So what do you think the main detail is, or the main topic is of this section? What is the main topic? Do you think maybe they have a way to survive? Survival? Let's see.
Now what I'd like you to do is in your journal, you can draw or write some key details that you heard. You can also record the key details for your teacher too. If you want to listen to me read this section again, you can go back in the video. Now, pause the video as you write some key details you heard from this section of text.
All right, so let's think about some key details from this section. We know what? That seahorses are tiny. So you could write that down in your journal. Seahorses are tiny. You can also tell about their eyes going in different directions, right? Yes. And you can also tell about their tail holding on. That's how they hold on in their holdfast. So only write a couple down, but this is something you don't have to turn into me, okay? But you can write a couple down.
All right, now think about what all those details are about. What do we learn about seahorses from reading that section of text? In your journal, you will write the main topic of the section, meaning you will write what the section is mostly about. You could also record the main topic for your classroom teacher too. Pause the video now as you write the main topic of this section.
All right, so think about what is the main topic? It is baby seahorses have ways to survive as soon as they're born, right? Yeah. So write that in your journal. baby seahorses have ways to survive. I'll put it right here. Baby seahorses have ways to survive. Okay, let me make that big so you can see it. There you go. Baby seahorses have ways to survive. All right. And remember, you don't have to turn that in me, okay? All right. So let me bring it back out. Okay, so let's go on further.
I wish I could have seen what you wrote, but I bet you wrote details about how seahorses use their eyes to look for food and how they use their tail to move around. And then for the main topic, I bet you thought about how seahorses use their features to eat and move.
Survival.
Next, we'll think about the main topic of the whole text. And if I look at the main topics of those sections of text, I can see lots of information about how seahorses use their different body features. I want you to think, what did you learn about seahorses from listening to those sections? Also think, what were those sections mostly about? Share with your learning partner.
So think about it. What have we learned so far about the seahorses? They have a home called a holdfast. They use their head to lay down on their chest to make them go down. They can straighten their head up to make them go up. They use their tail for their holdfast. As I said, they can use their nose to suck in the plankton, right? Baby seahorses can eat and protect themselves when they're born, right? Okay, so let's see.
Now, think about what all this information is mostly about. What does this information teach you about seahorses? In your journal, you will write the main topic of the sections of text that we read. You could also record the main topic for your classroom teacher too. Pause the video now as you write the main topic of the whole text. Oh, how I wish I could have seen what you wrote. I wonder, did you write about how seahorses use their bodies to do lots of things? Or maybe you wrote about how seahorses use their features to stay alive or survive. We're going to talk more about the unique features of a seahorse next. But before we do, pause the video to take a moment to stretch or take a quick break. When you're done, unpause the video.
Okay, remember, the writing in your journal, you do not have to turn it in, okay? This is just doing it through our lesson, but please don't turn it in.
Welcome back, friends. In the previous lesson, we started learning about selecting information for informative paragraphs. And I want you to remember, selecting information for informative paragraphs is important because writers want to teach the readers something. And that information can be facts and details. In informative writing, the details are often facts. And we have learned a lot of information about seahorses. When you read a book with lots of information in it, it helps to sort the information into categories before you start writing. Take a look at the evidence organizer on the screen. You will see two categories. You'll see tail and you'll see eyes. And next, I'll show you some details and you'll decide if they tell us about a seahorse's eyes or tail. As I read the details, I want you to name which body part it's describing. And if you like, you can gently point to the body part on the screen. Let's try one together. Can see food from any direction.
Where would that go? Eyes or tail? Eyes. See.
Which body part is that describing? Which body part is that describing? Did you point to the seahorse's eyes?
We
I'm sure you
did.
did. Nice work. Let's sort the rest of the details. And remember, you can gently point to that body part on the screen. And if you don't want to point, that's okay. You can just say it loud if it's tail or eyes. Listen carefully. Cause tail to drop down.
Oh, what did you say? Eyes or tail? Tail, because it kind of gave it away, didn't it?
Look like black beads.
What looks like black beads? Right, eyes.
Can hold on to things.
Tail.
Now it's your turn to show what you know. I want you to select one of the details we just talked about and write it next to the body part it describes in your journals. I've included 2 details here you can choose from, but you can also go back and look at the details on the previous slide too. Pause.
Okay, so it says write a detail next to the body part it describes. You do not have this sheet for an assignment, okay? But if you choose to write it in your journal, that would be great. So a tail, what can the tail do? It can hold on to things, can't it? What can the eyes do? They look like black beads, or you could say they move in different directions.
Pause the video while you write down one body part and a detail about that body part. Let's check to see how we did. We'll read the details about the tails first. Curls tail to drop down, can hold on to things. Now, let's read the details about the seahorse's eyes. Look like black beads, can see food from any direction. You organize these details so that they were all about the same topic or the same feature, either the tail or the eyes. And soon you'll use this chart to help you select details for your own informative paragraphs. Nice job today figuring out the main topic of the text and details about seahorses. Next time, we'll continue reading Seahorse, the shyest fish in the sea. But until then, be kind and do something great because you are capable of greatness.
Let me stop sharing. All right, guys, great job there. All right, so we are with that part of the lesson. So let's think a minute. I want to use some categorization right now. Let's talk about a seahorse. Seahorse is a what? You're right, it's a fish, right? So the seahorse has what? Ooh, you could put a lot of different things there, couldn't you? The seahorse has a snout to do what? To suck in its food with, right? The seahorse can what? Can camouflage, right? Or it can swim up or back. It can swim in different directions, right? So there's a lot of things that the seahorse can do too. The seahorse is shy. Yes. Small. Good. Okay. So that was called categorization. Categorization. Great job. So that is the end of our lesson today. I will see you back here again tomorrow.